Why, hello there, folks. Why, hello there. I feel like people don't text me until... Hold on. His ear is so fucked. I feel like people don't text me until it's time for me to go live, and then they text me. I still have soap in my ear? Is that what's going on? Maybe. Oh, whatever it is, it sucks. Burden in my hand, yeah. That's a good song. That's no joke, a great song. No lie there. No lie detected there. It seems like a very common issue for streamers, yeah. It's pretty much the way it is. I feel like literally nobody ever wants to talk to me until I'm doing this. And then it's like, mom calls, dad texts. It's like, come on. You comb that nappy hair? I just got out of the shower, so... It'll look better in a couple minutes. It's just still, you know, wet. To the song that's playing on the radio. Poor Garcia Buckner, bro. Imagine that your life is so fucked up that you're cruising shorts and you see a dude that just got out of the shower and you're like, damn, you finna run a comb through that nappy ass head? Imagine that's what you've got to do to like gas yourself up for the day. Oof. Dude, Garcia, you're a valid human being, okay? You don't need to be, well, you don't need to attempt to be mean to somebody to make yourself feel better. You're a valid person without just scrolling through shorts to find a person to be mean to. But go off, King. Have fun. I know you won't stop. So have fun. Oh yeah, it's always somebody with no PFP, no engagement, like no desire to be a real person. And they'll cruise on by, say something really mean to a total stranger, and then it makes them feel good. When that stranger gets their feelings hurt or reacts to them negatively, they're like, I mattered for a second. And it's very sad. It's very sad. There's a lot of people that live that way. And my heart goes out to them, truly. It was intended to be a playful jab. I am sorry. I mean, it's not very playful, and I don't know you. So how do you do a playful jab at a person that you don't even know? You walk up to like a fat person and go like, hey, what's up, fatty? Just kidding. You wouldn't. So don't. Here's another little life lesson for you. Don't talk to a grown man like you've got anonymity, because a grown man doesn't care about anonymity and doesn't have time to engage with it. So talk to a grown man the way that you would talk to a grown man face to face. And you'll find yourself like very much having a better time interacting with people in general, not just here, Hey, folks. She just rewatched the Kamala episode from 5 years ago, and it cemented my decision to stick with Jill Stein. Yeah. Duh. That's where you and I differ, Paul. I treat every man as if I've known them my whole life. It roots out the prudes. No, you don't. You honestly don't. I like the idea of that, and I'm sure it feels good to present yourself that way, but I guarantee you that's not true. Guaranteed. No, there's a lot of people in here with a PFP. Most people have PFPs. It takes like 1 second to upload a fucking random image and have a profile pic. It's just usually indicative of somebody who's an alt. Because somebody who's like actually engaging probably has a little name that they've picked with a little icon that they've picked. They want to be known and remembered as, the penguin spy, or, the porpoise dictator, or whatever the fuck. And they have a little thing that they do, right? The people that don't have PFPs are just like people that don't give a fuck because they're on a throwaway. Do you have COVID? No, I smoke weed. Get a job? I've got one. This is my job. Kind of neat, huh? Yeah, for 10 years now, I've done this for a living. Entirely. So I don't have a side gig. I don't have a second job. I'm a podcaster for a living for a decade. You won't meet, like, I'm rare as hen's teeth, man. You won't meet a person like me. Most people that are podcasters, they're on a show, 2-3 years go by, the show fizzles out, they try and do something solo, and they're forgotten. I've been a straight up podcaster for 10 years. Isn't that crazy? Yeah, you won't meet one other person that can say that probably in your life. Like, it's one of the most desirable jobs right now. Like, people want to be influencers, they want to be online content creators, they want to be streamers, they want to be video makers or video essay makers. There are like probably conservatively 50 or 60 or 70 million people right now trying to like get that, and I'm one of the people that has it. Fucking crazy. You making money? Yeah. Not doing this. Like this show, I don't monetize because I don't want it to be like interrupted by people. I don't want people to feel like they've got to like splash out every time I go live. I do a main podcast on Deep Fat Fried. We've got a clips channel called Onion Nuggets. Those are our two main properties. People donate there. People give super chats when we're live there, and Streamlabs and all that shit. That always helps. We get click-through money, and we have a huge Patreon. So that's how I make my dough. And this is part of my job. Like, pretty much every time I do this, there's somebody that comes out and goes like, "Hey, dude, get a job," and I get to explain this to that person. This is my job. It's a fucking weird job, but it's a job. My job right now is human advertisement. I grift windows. Cool. Good for you, man. Cool. Yeah. It's pretty neat. And the sad thing is like when people realize that, because like a lot of people scroll through here, they don't know who I am. I don't expect them to. I'm like a fucking Z-list micro internet celebrity. But you know, when people will ask me all the time, like, how do I do what you do? Like, I want to do a podcast. Like, you have any advice? And I'm like the most horrible person in the world for that, because I'll just tell you the truth. You can't do it. I would rather tell you that than to have you chase a dream that's unattainable. Like, if I were to tell you guys right now that each and every one of you could do what I do for a living, not a single one of you would make it. So I don't tell people that. I have the job that I have because I was in the right place at the right time. I started doing YouTube way back in the Wild West days, 2007. And I met people and gained a name for myself and built a brand for myself before I even knew I was doing that. And then that brand became marketable when I was invited on a podcast, asked back a bunch of times, you know, like that happened. And then I was made a provisional member, and then a weekly member, and then an every show member, and then now I own my own business, and I own my own podcast. That, I mean, what am I going to tell you guys? Start right now making connections with people you have no idea will be famous and successful, and then spend all of your free time almost obsessively streaming, making videos, talking to people, and then get really good at it, and then call in those favors or make a connection with a person that you met 10, 15 years ago, get elevated to their podcast as a guest, have the crowd go wild for you and demand you back as a guest, have that turn into the offer of part-time employment, have that turn into the offer of full-time employment, have that turn into a brand new show that you own 1/3 of. That's how you do it, guys. Just make the list. What's your content? You can go look at it if you want. The main show is called Deep Fat Fried. The Clips channel, which is probably better for getting like an idea what we do, is called Onion Nuggets. Just leave that pupper alone, D. Hey, he's allowed to be over in his yard, and you're allowed to be over in your yard. Okay? And that's just the way it works. They've got a new dog, and he doesn't like being outside. What would you be doing if you weren't a professional YouTube gabber? Well, before this, I was a network systems administrator for a school district. I had 3 schools, and it was my sole purview to run the server blades and do all of the tech support on 3 campuses. D, he's allowed. He's allowed to have a meltdown back here. Yeah, so before I did this, I did whatever I could. I worked as a retail guy. I was 8 years at Starbucks. Started as a barista, worked my way up to a shift supervisor, worked my way up to an assistant store manager. You know, interim managed a store that was opening for a little while. Did that for 8 years. Got sick of it, quit that, and got a new job for the school district doing tech support stuff. It ended up being a huge job, paid really well, but it was super like, it's a school district. So the tech support, I did the job of 4 or 5 tech support people. In a normal school district, in a well-funded school district, which hardly exists now anyway, but let's just say my school district was well-funded instead of underfunded. there would have been 2 or 3 guys at the very minimum doing my job. So it just gets very much like out of control. Dinor, come here. Come here. Hey. That's it. That's it. That's it. Inside you can see it. See? He set off the shitstorm. Is D territorial? Yes. He thinks that he owns not only our yard, but the houses adjacent to it. And when people are moving around in their homes and yards, see, look, he's doing it in there. And now he's going to wake up Amelia. So now he's in trouble. Hashtag let Dinor bark. No. Dude, you guys have never experienced a Dinor bark in person? It's ear piercing, man. He has the vocal cords of a hound. And so his bark will literally give me like a heart attack sometimes. Because it'll come out of nowhere like, bro! And it's so loud. You can't even imagine how loud it is. Like, I've legit got palpitations from Dinor barking at me before. Out of nowhere. Like, baked watching a movie, and then all of a sudden he sees something outside that pisses him off, and he unleashes one of those. Dude, I've come that far up off the couch. Fucking guy. Little dogs are somehow the worst. No, they're great. All dogs are great. I like all dogs. I've never met a dog that I didn't like. Dogs are pretty sweet little animals, from my experience. I used to volunteer at a place here in Fresno called ARF, Animal Rescue Fresno. They're a no-kill shelter, and that was what really taught me that all dogs are great. Because they've got, little puppies there. They've got senior dogs. I used to work with some of the more aggressive dogs. There were dogs that had aggression towards men because they were abused by men. And I'm a big kind of hairy, burly-looking, deep-voiced dude. And so they would use me to do... they call exposure training with those dogs, to show them that I wasn't afraid of them, that I wasn't there to hurt them, and to gain their trust so that they unlearn the defense mechanism of bite or threaten to bite any man that comes near me, because they were very horribly abused. It's very sad when you see those types of dogs, but it's also very nice when they start letting you do your thing, like they start letting you put your hand out to them, and they'll nuzzle your hand. That's like a little sign of trust, whereas when you first met the dog, you couldn't even go near their enclosure because they were snarling and barking and trying to bite at you. Can all aggressive dogs be rehabilitated? I think with the right amount of time and care and love, yes. But the truth of the matter is that a lot of aggressive dogs just never get that chance, because there's just not enough people out there that are willing to spend every day taking care of an animal that hates them to teach that animal to trust and love a person again. So it can be done, but it usually isn't, unfortunately. Dogs are a lot like humans, except a lot more simple. I believe all can be rehabilitated. Yeah. Yeah, it is sad that they get put down because they can't trust people, because they don't trust people. That's why they end up not getting put down, you know. And if there was a person or a group of people who were dedicated to spending their time helping that dog could be a great family dog, or at least a good dog for a single person, you know. But there's just so few organizations and so few people that are willing to put in that time. Paul, what was the most fulfilling job you had other than a YouTube personality? I mean, probably the school district stuff. I mean, ultimately, I didn't work directly with the kids, but I was there, you know, they knew who I was, but I wasn't there to facilitate their learning. I was there to facilitate the technology so that the teachers could use that technology to facilitate the students' learning. And that was pretty fulfilling. I always made sure that my campuses were doing the best that I could get them going. You know what I mean? Running as smoothly as possible, with as little downtime for my end users as possible. I tried to be as reactive as I possibly could be, having 3 whole campuses and being the only person. I tried to be as reactive as I could possibly be to people whose technology wasn't working, and that helped facilitate them have a good day teaching their kids versus a day where they have to come up with a lesson plan on the fly because their technology isn't working. And so that's a pretty fulfilling feeling, to be a part of that mechanism that ends up helping kids is a pretty fulfilling job. But it was also one of the most depressing jobs I've ever had, because I had a bird's eye insider view of the failing public education system. Like, I got to see how much money was wasted on this, that, or the other thing, and not spent on hiring more teachers so that they could have smaller class sizes so that kids could get a better education. Isn't that what you did when you volunteered? I did a number of volunteer things through that job for the schools. One of the volunteer things I did was I played Santa for English second language kids. So 2 of my 3 schools because they moved around. So a bunch of my schools over the course of the 8 years I worked for the school district were heavily migrant English second language learners. And so those kids were not only profoundly poor, but a lot of them never got to see a Santa that spoke Spanish to them, right? And I don't speak Spanish fluently, but I speak it well enough that I was able to learn a few things that Santa would say. You know, Feliz Navidad, te portaste bien este año, ¿qué quieres para Christmas? And I would say this to them, and their little faces would light up, and they would tell me a bunch of shit that I didn't know. And I would say, sí, 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 te portaste bien este año, sí, sí, sí. Okay, and then we'd take the picture, and they'd go on, and that was so fun. That was so great. So I really I really do care about kids. I really do think kids get the short end of the stick more than pretty much anybody in society, maybe old people and kids. And I think kids just kind of go by the wayside. A lot of times they're not being raised up right. And that's not their fault that they didn't have, a parent to look up to that was doing right by them. And it just breaks my heart to see them not do well, because every kid is like this little bundle of endless potential. Um, yeah. Man, I just made myself fucking depressed, bro. Ouch. That's one of the reasons I left that fucking job, man. I couldn't do it anymore. It was like a heartbreak every day. Every day, and it just became more and more like obvious as the years rolled by that I worked there that like the people in charge of this shit don't give a fuck about these children. And it was just I was just drowning. I couldn't do it anymore. And it's the same. I can't even imagine what it would be like to actually be a teacher. So many teachers have that same story. I just got buried in the depression of it, and I felt like nobody was supporting me. Nobody cared about these kids that mattered. And I just couldn't take it anymore, man. I had to fucking go. Every euthanasia is a 2-ton weight in the heart, for real. For real, for real. I'm in the same boat in healthcare. Everyone has lost the plot. Yeah. I mean, I've heard like nurses and dental assistants and just like people that work adjacent to the healthcare industry. I have a few of them in my family, and all of them talk about just what a mess it is and how soul crushing it is to work there, and how little you feel like you're actually making a difference, even as you are. It's fucked. Paul, I'm a trust fund kid. I'm not super wealthy, but I live calmly. I work minimum wage, and I genuinely feel like a jerk because everyone around me is suffering. Am I a problem? Any advice? I feel bad. Nah, man. I mean, you didn't get to choose your circumstances. In fact, you're very like fortunate that you had a family member at some point that cared enough about you that they put something away for you. Would that everybody had that, right? You shouldn't feel bad about your circumstances, but you could take some of your extra free time and your worry-free time and serve your community. You could do that. You know what I mean? You could go work at the food bank a couple days a week. You could go work at the soup kitchen a couple days a week. You could go work at a no-kill shelter. You could serve your community, right? And if you're putting back in, why would you ever feel bad? Where's our utopia? We don't get one, bud. Hi, I'm racist, and I'm here to study your kind. You got fucking duked before I could even read it, bro. The copy pastas are flowing today. It's hard in a world that judges you for what you make and not the kindness you do. Well, you don't do kindness for recognition. That's not what kindness is about. If you're doing kindness for recognition, you're only being kind to yourself. Kindness doesn't get recognition. Kindness isn't something that's recognized. It's a small story that makes a big difference. Just feels bad because a few of my coworkers are struggling, yet I have over 2 million in the account. I can volunteer though. Yeah, dude. You can volunteer, maybe organize your workspace and use some of that money that you've got access to like, you know what I mean? Like help the union. I mean, there's a lot of shit you could do, bro. Yeah, kindness doesn't ever come with a guaranteed pat on the back, nor should it. It just is. It's something that you do because it's the right thing to do and you know it. And that's all it is. That's all it ever will be. Anybody that's looking for props for how kind they are, probably not a very kind person in reality. Go on up. Opportunistic people often get mistaken for kind people because of the nature of psychological manipulation. Yeah. Any advice you'd give to your 24-year-old self? These types of questions always weird me out because, like, no. No. Because if I went back in time and gave a bunch of advice to my 24-year-old self and my 24-year-old self took that advice seriously, I wouldn't be who I am. I wouldn't have the wife that I have. I wouldn't have the life that I have. I would be in a different fucking universe. And I don't want that. I like where I am. I like not necessarily what I've had to go through. I've been through some rough shit. Everybody goes through rough shit. I've had my fair share and then maybe an extra scoop. But I like where I'm at now. So I wouldn't meddle with any of that. Fuck that. Whatever mistakes he made, he being 24-year-old me, ended out okay. He figured it out. He didn't need my advice. He made it. He did okay. Even that answer was helpful, thank you. Oh, well, I hope so. I mean, I understand it probably wasn't what you were looking for. I mean, I wouldn't be able to be fun for you guys to watch every once in a while when you're just wanting to chill. I wouldn't be that if I hadn't gone through the things that I went through and made the horrible mistakes that I've made and missed the opportunities that I've missed. If I went back and just like changed my whole circumstance, I would be a different person. You know, my 20s were so formative. People don't understand. It's like, I don't want to, hold on. I don't want to be one of these people who engages in like infantilizing 20-year-olds because I think there's too much of that. There will be people that are like, what, you fucked a 23-year-old? That's literally like almost a child. It's like, nah, we got to stop that. But your 20s are super formative because you're learning like how to navigate the systems of the world and how you function within that, how to make friends, how to keep relationships, how to pay your bills, like all these things. And all of these opportunities for mistakes. If you denied yourself that, if you went back as an older guy and went to your 22-year-old self and were like, hey man, invest in fucking Google as soon as the IPO drops, you know, then I would be a rich fuck now. Like I would literally, like if I went back, okay, if I wanted to change my whole ass life and give myself one piece of advice, I would go back to when I was like 26. I think it was 2006 when the Google IPO happened. I had about $5,000, $6,000 worth of Starbucks stock at that point. And if I would have taken that $5,000 of Starbucks stock and rolled it into Google, I would have like $23 million. There you go. Let that Google mature for about 10 years, pull it out, put it in NVIDIA. Enjoy your $100 million. There you go. I'm a late bloomer. I'm feeling like I'm just figuring out things in my 30s. Hey, me too, dude. My 30s were a nightmare. Most of them were. Some of them were a lot. Some of it was a lot of fun. I'm not going to lie, but most of like the first half of my 30s, bro, bleak. And like that was the time too that I was supposed to be the happiest. I'm a relative newlywed. I was, had been married at the time I hit 30. I'd been married for 3 years. Got married at 27. Same age, by the way, that my mom got married. Same age that my mom had children. My mom was 27 when she had me. So I got married the year that my mom had her first child. And so that was like our plan. We immediately dove into trying to have a child. It didn't happen. We found out through going to the doctor, fertility specialists, all the bullshit that I am infertile. I can't make children. And so, that like ripped a hole in that whole relationship. And I was confused as to what I was supposed to do because I was ready to just get over it and go like, okay, well, we don't have kids. Cool. And she was not. And at least that's my read on it now all these years later. Is like that was really the catalyst that ripped open our marriage and made it fail. Or at least made me fail within it. I left my wife in 2015, moved to Texas, and started podcasting full-time, right around in that zone. Like about a month after I left, I was hired full-time on The Drunken Peasant. So I lived in hotels on my savings and dedicated all the time that I could to being good on that show, and it paid off. And I never looked back, So that was the turning point happened in my 30s. Where I was confronted with everything, right? Do you have highlights? No, I'm just going gray. Yeah, my hair is just like blonde, gray, and brown and red. I have fucked up hair, but I don't dye my hair at all. I would never like put dye in my hair because when I was in high school, it was super popular to like dye your hair or bleach it. And I just remember how fucked up it made my hair. It like ruined a whole head of hair. So I like my hair. So I just let it do what it do. Yeah, I've got like blonde, brownish, more blonde and brown, and then gray, obviously, in the hair. And then my beard has a lot more red in it, especially like in the sunlight. You guys don't get to see it in the sunlight because fuck that. It's nice out. I'm a calico cat. Yeah, dude. It's all Scottish and Irish. Like literally close to 100%. So you can blame them for me. I don't know, I did my whole 23andMe, and it's all Scottish, Irish, Scandinavian. That's it. It's basically the same people because, like, Scandinavia basically raped and pillaged Scotland, Ireland, and Europe in general for unabated for 500 or 600 years. Is Scottish kilts? Yeah, Scottish are the ones who wear kilts. I don't wear a fucking kilt. But I would. I'd look good in one, I guarantee you, because I'm Scottish. I don't play the bagpipes, but I guarantee you I'd be badass at it. I'm Scottish. Yeah, dude. I wouldn't mind the airflow. Dude, it gets swampy down in the nethers. Well, too late. They've got my whole fucking genetic identity. Too late, buddy. My genome is now part of the fucking public domain. Whoops. Give us a profile shot. I can't see if that's good profile, but there you go. Do I have a pretty big here? How's the Neanderthal ridge? There's a lot of it. I think it said I have like more Neanderthal than 60% of humanity or something. So I've got some Neanderthal up in there, man. You always preferred long hair? Yeah. I've always wanted to have long hair. When I was real young, my mom had me with long hair and I loved it. And then she started cutting it and I hated it. But that's the way little boys were supposed to look. And so I think my mom cut my hair. I may be getting this story wrong, but I think somebody walked up to me and said, "Oh, what a beautiful little girl." I was like 4. And my dad flipped out on my mom and told her, "You're going to cut that boy's hair, blah, 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 blah." And then I had to have a boy haircut for the rest of my childhood. And then like going in my teens, I didn't know any better. And I tried growing out my hair in high school, but that was tragic. And so I never got all the way. And then, and then I got a job where, Starbucks would have let me have hair, but I would have had to have it up in a bun and a hairnet all day. And it's like, all right, fuck that. I'll just keep it short. And then I started working with a school district and they had grooming standards. I couldn't have kept my hair like this or my beard like this. After I got through all of that, grooming myself like I had to work, as soon as I got a job that didn't have a dress code, the real me came flying out, and it hasn't left since, What the fuck, grooming standards for the IT guy? Well, I mean, I worked at a school with kids. Does that change it at all? Like, I was around a bunch of, like, kindergarten through high schoolers all day. Do you see the Mr. Beast drama? No, and no. No. Don't care. Don't give a fuck. I think if I was like 8, I would give a fuck about drama and Mr. Beast, but I'm not, so. Right. I mean, like, it's a whole authority figure thing. The teachers couldn't run around looking like this. Hey, kids, it's me, Mr. fucking Parky. Everybody ready? Get your fucking books out, man. All right, hold on, everybody. Fuck, man, it went out, bro. Shit, hold on, kids. 1 second, Mr. Parky's gotta get his medicine. Okay, hold up. Wait a minute, what the fuck was I saying? Oh yeah, get your books out. We're on chapter, who remembers? Chapter 5. Get a gold star, put it on the chart. That's good. You remembered that. That's good. Chapter 5. Somebody's going to read it. Who wants to read it? I had to stop that because it was actually starting to become a good teacher. It's actually starting to become like a teacher that I would like to have or have teach my children. Today, kids, we're going to talk about how voting doesn't matter, how it's a distraction meant to push you away from the only true power that you have, and that's the power of the proletariat to rise up and take what's theirs, man. Okay? If they're never going to give it to you, man, you got to take it. Don't cuck yourself, man. Oh, I had a couple of teachers that definitely were bombing weed. And I had one teacher that we caught one time. We had suspicions. And I'm not going to say his name because I don't want to speak ill of the man. I think he passed. Okay? I think he might have passed. But I had this English teacher in high school. And he was wild, bro. And people would be like, I'll say his name was Mr. Greenlee. They would say Mr. Greenlee, or they would say about him behind his back, they'd be like, dude, is Mr. Greenlee fucked up? I'd be like, dude, he's got to be drunk. Dude, I know what I'm around drunks a lot. I know what a drunk sounds like, okay? He's got to be a drunk. I don't know, man, fucking blah, blah. Because he would just like, I just remember, okay, I'm going to do an impression. You guys aren't going to believe. But we worked on this in high school. We read a story called Sir Gawain and the Green Knight. And here's how Mr. Greenlee told us about that. Our next book is Sir Gawain and the Green Knight. Oh, yes. Pull out your books and start reading. That's how he did it. That was what he... So anyway, he would sit and sip coffee while we did reading or group work. Right? One day, a kid got brolic in class. Mr. Greenlee had to step out into the hall with him. And I went over to his desk, grabbed his cup of coffee and went, what do you think I smelled? Guess. I want to see if somebody can land spot on it. What did I smell in that coffee? What did that coffee smell like? Vodka. Exactly. First guess out the gate was right. Straight vodka. And I was like, oh, I put it down. I went and sat down. I told my friends, I was like, dude, it's fucking full of vodka in there. And then, like, we decided, like, let's not tell the other kids. Let's not blow it up because they'll fire him. He was getting drunk, bro. Way drunk. But he was an all right teacher. We didn't hate him, so we didn't tattle on him. We just knew his secret after that. I don't even know if there was any coffee in it, bro. I think it was just straight vodka. From the quick sniff I took, all I smelled was vodka. I didn't smell no coffee. Did we fuck with him? Yeah, a little bit, but he liked it. He was a good teacher in that way. He would laugh when we would make fun of him. He would be like, "Mr. Parky, you don't look like you're paying attention today. What are we reading?" And I would say, "Sir Gawain and the Green Knight." And he would go, "Yeah, that's right." He took it. He took his lumps. Nah, the whole class suspected, but only me and my couple of friends that were in the class knew for show. I mean, yeah, the whole class pretty much knew, but nobody fucked with him. Nobody reported him because he was a good teacher. I actually I read 3 books that I'll never forget. I'll never forget the story of Sir Gawain and the Green Knight. I'll never forget 1984, and I'll never forget Brave New World. I read all of those books in his class. Like, why would I want to fuck that teacher up? You know what I mean? I actually really liked his class, and those books are all awesome, so, you know. No, he was a really chill teacher. Like, he was, like, easygoing and, like, didn't mind if people were rowdy in his class. He just, you know. So we didn't want to fuck on him. It was just funny to know it, you know, to, like, have it confirmed. Sir Gawain and the Green Knight. Dude, I accidentally started this stream on my phone that was almost dead instead of my phone that has a full charge. That's a fucking fail. But we're just gonna rock this one till the wheels fall off, and then maybe I'll switch over. I don't know how to. Could I do that? What if I did this? Dude, I'm gonna try some crazy shit. Right now. I'm gonna try some crazy shit. Can I steal this broadcast? No. Fuck. Hold on. Okay, I'm gonna try something. If I don't come back, keep your eyes peeled for because I'll start a new one. But I'm gonna minimize this. You can. Triplical is saying you can. How? What I'm thinking of is if I close out here without ending the stream and then reopen the app on this phone, will it see that I have a stream that just ended improperly and give me the option to start it on this? Okay, so that's the test. I will make sure this one is ended if it doesn't work, and I'll start a new one. Turn the Wi-Fi and data off on this phone, then start on the other one.